Alright everybody, and welcome back. If you are new and joining us for the first time, one of the things we like to do here on this channel is basically comb the internet for martial arts themed questions or advice or even stories and share them here. Hopefully we can give a little insight, hopefully learn a little at the same time too. So today's story is basically based on kind of like an ego-based emasculation concept, right? That's really common, especially in younger guys. So let's go ahead and let's get into today's story, right? Today's story was in Reddit under the self-defense forum, and let's go ahead and see what this says. The title of the story is How to Stop Feeling Emasculated or Weak. They go on to say, I was out early tonight at the pub, so I'm guessing they're in the UK somewhere, and was walking to the ship shop for some dinner. Can you imagine saying that 3 times fast? The ship shop. On the way, the chav started saying, "What are you looking at?" And I think chav is like some slang, kind of like for like somebody that's ghetto in the UK. If you know a little more, please make sure you comment below in the comment section and let me know exactly kind of more in depth what that is. I'd love to hear your input on that. But he goes on to say, on the way, this chav started saying, "What are you looking at?" etc. To which I responded, "I'm not in for any trouble." And kept walking. He crossed the street behind me and shoved me and my mate, and then pushed us in the back. I turned around and almost took a swing at him, but thought better of it and just said, "Don't you touch my mate again," right? His friend then pulled him back, and the pond life, which is another slang I guess, the pond life kept abusing me and my friend as we kept walking. I feel quite weak and emasculated by the incident. But on a rational level, I understand that, and had I hit him, I could have gotten an assault charge and lost my university offer. It is just difficult to avoid feeling like I am less of a man for not responding physically to being attacked, albeit not seriously. I don't know if anyone else has felt this and knows how not to feel trash about it. Right, so let's get into this. This is something that I've got some personal experience with too, and I know a lot of young people tend to deal with, especially a lot of young men. So I want to start this by sharing a little story. This happened some years back. At the time, we had a guy that was working for us, and in a small business, and he was a young guy, right? He was young, but he was just out of high school, probably about 19, 20 years old. And this is back when they were like I think it was like the GameCube was the kind of a thing. So he was working with us, kind of doing some little handyman side business stuff. And then one day, he and I not showing for work. So coming to find out, he had kind of gotten into a fight. The details were basically somebody had broken in and stolen his PlayStation or his GameCube, his video game system, and he found out who it was. He approached that person after he found out where they were, and they got into a fight. He punched that guy one time. The guy fell down, hit his head, and he was done with his living at that point, right? He did not make it. So, and I gotta say that way for the YouTube algorithm, so it doesn't pick up on anything untoward. But he hit him one time, and the guy was done, and he was done. He ended up going to prison for the slaughtering of man, if you get what I'm saying. For I don't know, it was a long time, right? So he's still in jail to this time, and he was a young guy. He had a lot of potential ahead of him, but what happened is he let his ego get the best of him. It was this thing where somebody stole from him. It was personal. He confronted him, and then he took action. It's something that he thought he was justified to do, and now he's spending the next 30, 40 years behind bars in prison for a video game system. He could have bought another one up or find another one. It wasn't that big a deal. So that said, this is slightly different, right? You had somebody, as you were trying to de-escalate and walk away from the situation, you had somebody that was continually approaching you. So I think in this kind of circumstance, what you did was best. I'm not gonna Monday morning quarterback. That's just a US saying for I'm not gonna try to judge you after the fact. You got home safely, nobody was hurt. It sounds like this guy probably had too much to drink. And once he and his friends figured out that you weren't gonna kind of push that envelope a little bit and give him that fight that he was looking for, they kind of died down and pulled away. But if you had taken that and turned around and continued to kind of take his angle or continued to kind of trade words with him, you never would have known, you never know where that conversation could have gone, right? He could have said something, you say something back, he pushes you, push him back, you go take a swing, he hits his head, and now he's down for the count, right? You're facing charges, you lose your university offer, right? And then now maybe you lose your girlfriend, you lose your family members. It's a whole domino effect that people don't understand when it comes to self-defense. That's why we always preach when we train, the most important thing is try to avoid fights when possible. Yeah, we learn skills that are important for staying safe in this modern world. But at the end of the day, if I can avoid an altercation altogether, that's the highest level of self-defense there is. And I practice that every day. I do self-defense every day. It's not when I kick, and it's not when I punch. It's when I get home safely to my family, and I know all is good with the world, right? Even if I lost a little bit of face. But if we kind of dial this back for a second and we switch it to where, you know, we're going back to, you were playing this instance, and if there was a divergent timeline where he pushed you and then he pulled out a knife, or he pushed you and then he followed it up with a swing, that's a different story. Now we're talking, you are forced into this situation and you have to defend yourself. And that's where training comes in, whether it's Krav Maga, boxing, jiu-jitsu, judo, whatever your form of self-defense is. But that's when you have to have that game plan, that strategy. But besides that, getting into the specifics of what to do if you were attacked, understand, yeah, so what? Like, this guy, he means nothing to you. It doesn't sound like you know him from Adam, right? You don't know him at all. So basically, his opinion of you should not make a difference at all. Whether he thinks you're a jerk, whether he thinks you're amazing, makes no difference, right? You got your life. You guys are on different levels, right? You're up here, he's down here, he's doing his thing. Well, you know, hopefully one day he grows up and matures, but you've got a lot of potential ahead of you. Don't waste that on somebody that's not worth your time. Anyway, that's my thought. If y'all have some thoughts and comments, please share it with me below in the comment section. I'd love to hear if you've had similar stories, how this can relate, and this can hopefully change somebody's life too. So leave some thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps with the YouTube algorithm. Until next time, peace.